You've seen it in the streets, you've seen it in the malls, and maybe you're seeing it in your own home. Girls dressing too sexy, too young. Is it a sign of the times or a sign of trouble? It's not your imagination. Girls are wearing sexier-styled clothing, and they're exposed to images that make it seem okay, says Dr. Jennifer Powell-Lunder.
So they are getting messages that say that the more sexualized you are, the more attention you're going to get.
Disney child star Skai Jackson has drawn a lot of attention for her sometimes daring outfits critics say are more appropriate for adult women. She's not the only one. And long after the outfit is gone, psychological side effects can remain.
The over-sexualization of girls from a very young age definitely affects the way girls see themselves as they grow older.
Despite the efforts of parents to curate their daughters' clothing while they shop, there are other influences more powerful, says up-and-coming hip-hop artist K Goddess, who's managed by Tony Yayo.
It comes from social media, it comes from TV, it comes from music videos, because girls look at things and they're like, oh, I want to be like her.
She's trying to keep her younger sister away from the allure of strapless tops and skin-tight mini dresses. With girls getting curves at younger and younger ages, it isn't always easy.
And I tell my little sister all the time, like, don't wear anything too tight, don't wear anything that's going to show too much, because you're still a teenager.
Shopping for age-appropriate clothing can be more like a battle, but there are ways to support girls to stand up to peer pressure.
Teach your children that being themselves and that individuality is the most stylish thing that they could ever be.
With all these mixed messages, what should parents be doing? Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining me is Shawn Paul. She's a licensed clinical social worker. Her website is socialworkdiva.com. LaShawn, great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you with us. Also with us, you know him from his music career. Tony Yayo is a hip-hop artist, original member of the G Unit, and he's now managing artist, doing movies and many other projects. He's also a dad. Tony, thanks for being with us.
Lisa, glad to be here.
Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Also with us is Kalana Barfield-Brown. She's the fashion and beauty editor at large of InStyle magazine. She's also the mother of a one-year-old girl. Thank you for being with us, Kalana.
Thank you for having me.
Tony, I want to start with you on this. You have a daughter.
Right.
What's it like for dads when because you know how men look at women?
I mean, I feel like it happened so fast. Like, it's been, 12 years. I remember my daughter being like, a baby, being, 5, 6 years old, and now she's 14, and things change. Women start to develop at that age, like 12, 13. Like, girls, they get that thing that they have every month. So it's like things change, and I just try to deal with it the best way I can, because I know my job is not to be easy on her, but to make her better. That's how I feel. And it's like you said earlier, it's like the internet controls kind of everything now. Like, she doesn't wear makeup yet, thank God. She's 14, but she's going into high school this year, her first year of high school, and I know the pressures of being in the 9th grade and, especially being a female.
No, and the pressures is the big thing. LaShawn, talk with us about the peer pressure that comes from the other kids in the school, but also from what they see from some of these like preteen and tween age celebrities.
I think peer pressure is literally what drives the life of a preteen and teen while they try to figure out and identify who they are in the world, especially during puberty. It's just really at its height. For like the over-sexualization in the clothing, it really affects children in so many different ways, just mentally and physically, while they try to develop and find out who they really are.
So it does have an impact, you think?
Definitely.
Kalana, in terms from a fashion and style viewpoint, a lot of parents, a lot of caregivers, and people that are taking care of girls say there's just not. It's very, very hard to find things that they think are fashionable or trendy or cute and that are appropriate. Is that true, or is that just they're just not looking hard enough?
Yeah, I just don't think they're looking hard enough. I think that there's a ton of options, and I do think that children designers, I think the clothes are getting sexier, so you kind of have to stay away from that. But I think it really starts at home, and as a parent, like, you have to do your work to look for the right pieces that are appropriate for your child. And it's also what you're instilling into your child, making sure that they know, okay, no makeup, like that's not happening here. Here's what you can do, and just making sure that they're not growing up too fast. They have their whole lives to be grown, so you want to keep them children as much as possible and keep them covered up.
And there's so many influences. You're talking about growing up too fast, and everybody please jump in with that. Tony,
I just feel like I believe in what she said, but like, your daughter can go to school and change her clothes in the bathroom and put on makeup in the bathroom. You know, kids are more advanced now because the internet is so fast, everything's so fast. I feel like the internet controls everything. You know, like,
I feel like that's a part of the problem, is that the internet is controlling everything rather than parents actually doing what they're supposed to do, right? So even though you can go into the bathroom and change, if people weren't consuming and parents weren't being friends instead of friendly, they would be able to not, they wouldn't even be those things available for sale for children as young as 9 years old. Like certain for babies in bikinis, when those things started to become acceptable, it became a lot more available, and it almost became this kind of monolithic idea of what sexiness is and what women should be. And I think that's where it kind of got skewed, especially with young girls.
What about LaShawn's point, Kalana, with the parents, when you do hear parents go, well, you know what, my son is my best friend, or my daughter's my best friend, and I'm like, I kind of always get a little bit of a feeling of a red flag feeling.
I do too, and even now, and I'm not even in my 20s, but my mom still says, like, you are my daughter, you are not my friend. And she always made that very clear. So I think it's the parent's job to really set those boundaries, and you really control or try to control as much what they're wearing. And if they are doing that at school, that's one thing, but they know when they come home, they're gonna have to change their clothes and take that makeup off, and they know what you accept. I know my parents, for one, like, they knew, like, I just knew I couldn't wear certain things, and I didn't want to because I knew what they just instilled in me, and I didn't have the images that kids have now on Instagram, and the pressures of feeling like, oh, well, there's this teen that's become so successful and she dresses so sexy, I need to do that too in order to look that way. But I think as a parent, you have to try to be creative in what you're helping your children wear and finding options that keep them really stylish.
Kids do not want to go shopping. My daughter do not want to go shopping with me.
Okay.
Even when you go, wait a minute. Even when you go with the credit card.
Listen, I was in the mall the other day, and there was a guy trying to tell his son, an older gentleman, what to wear, and I was laughing like, I feel sorry for you, because no teenager wants to go shopping with their mom or their dad.
Well, I hope that I'm going to be a cool enough mom that my daughter wants to go shopping with me.
Even when you go with the credit card,
because he had the money.
How much control can you have over your child now these days?
I think that's the real question.
Let's be serious.
Let's be serious.
I don't think that you can have control over your children, but like instilling values in them of what you expect is something that will help carry them through when the pressures of their peers kind of really come in.
I've seen guys and females from my neighborhood that didn't have to be in a certain predicament. Their moms or dad could have been doing real estate, and they still wanted to be in the streets selling drugs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all on you. But how much control can you have on a child? Like, I don't want to tell my daughter, oh, you can't wear that, or you can't wear this. I don't want her shorts to be too little either.
But do you say to her, look, if you wear this, you may think it's cute, and you see it on Instagram on somebody and it looks cute, but this is how men are going to look at you.
Right.
Isn't that the point too?
That is true. Because now
like they don't understand.
Older.
I mean, 14 they'll understand, but like 11, 12 they don't really understand.
Right. Well, 14,
Big part of the problem is too, we always frame like over-sexualization as how men look at you, right? But it really matters like how you look at yourself. Like it affects like depression, anxiety, self-esteem, and all those other stuff. And it leads to like so many different eating disorders. And looking at yourself a certain way and only understanding the way that you look is what people really see when they come through the door. It's the presentation of it and how that really matters more important than anything else.
I feel like every ad you see, somebody's in shape though. Like when you see an ad on TV, or you see, somebody with clothes on, or on website, is to be in shape. Like,
well, no, the body image thing. We're going to talk about that too, and how that plays a role.
It's a lot of pressure,
a pressure all the way around at younger and younger ages. We're going to get into that. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be right back.
A girl that is sheltered will be the wildest one in the party.
Let's talk about the celebrity aspect of it. Tony, you're very conscious of this. You're all over Instagram. You've seen and entertained and worked with and been around some of the most hottest, famous women in the world.
Yeah, there's a lot, yeah.
So those images on a 14-year-old girl are very powerful images when they see they see the celebrities.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, let's say Kylie Jenner, her makeup line did 243 million. She has 38 million followers, maybe 40 million followers. Like, my daughter likes her.
Right.
Who am I to say not like her? These girls are making a lot of money branding their stuff, selling their stuff. no makeup for my daughter and no twerking. Those are my 2 rules right there. I'm good with that. You could do the Millie Rock and everything else. I'm cool with that, but no twerking online. And you got to be careful online, because you do have to monitor what your kids do at 14. Y'all are right. What y'all saying is right.
Kalana, what about the celebrity effect? Because a lot of these products, like the beauty products, the clothing products, they do use, a celebrity, and the ones that use celebrities seem to be much more successful. Is that by design?
It's totally by design, and I think there's so many of these young girls who are so influential. So brands buy into that because they know there's kids like Tony's daughter who are going to see that and want to be a part of it because maybe this certain celebrity is a part of it. But I do think it really, starts at home, and what you're instilling in your children and what you're telling your children are not okay. You need to cover up. You need to make sure you can't be showing skin. You can't wear crop tops. And I think what's happened is a lot of people are doing it for the gram. They're doing a lot of things to spark attention. So even the clothing, people will put their babies in little toothpicks.
Your kids don't listen to you. How about
I think, they're
on the internet all day?
Well, maybe you have to limit. Maybe you have to limit how much they're on the internet, or maybe they can't get an Instagram.
Then I'm the bad dad if I take
sometimes you just have to take it for the team. Like, I'm just the strict
sometimes
parent.
you have to be the bad dad to be.
My parents were really,
my parents were real strict. Sometimes you have to be a bad.
No, listen.
Wait, that's a LaShawn question. But sometimes you have to be a bad dad to be a good dad, right?
I'm gonna tell you my problem. My parents was Haitian, so I used to get the old school, pick the switch from the backyard, get on your knees. The stuff that'll get you arrested now these days. I'm still a little mad at my dad. I love you still, Dad. I had Haitian parents. My sister didn't come outside till maybe she was 21, 22. You know what I mean? It was different.
Right.
So I'm a little easy on my kids because I have flashbacks of that. I'm like, I never want to be as strict as my dad was.
But you don't want your daughter to go to that.
LaShawn, what about that?
Because I don't want her to be sheltered either, because sometimes you'll be a girl that is sheltered or be the wildest one in the party.
That's right.
If she don't come out, you got your daughter, you got to let her go out and experience life. She's 14.
And get some skills, right?
But
that's
get some kind of skills,
right?
because, listen, a girl that stays in the house till 21, I seen her with my sister, they're not sheltered. The first man you meet, you might fall in love with because you're sheltered. It's not good. You can't keep somebody in the house.
Let me talk about the parenting part of it, because LaShawn, even if you take away, even if you say, okay, well, you can have a little private Instagram account, they can still see everything else that's out there. Yeah. And if their phone is taken away, well, their friend's got a phone, or they can go over to somebody else's a friend's house.
I think that's why it's important to find the balance in it all, right?
But how do you do that?
So finding the balance is literally starts from the time they're 1 year old. Is to not maybe put them in the two-piece or those sort of stuff. Right. It's to not sexualize them from a younger standpoint, so when they grow up and they see these things, those aren't their ideas of what achievement is, right? It's to put them around people who are doctors, lawyers, even social workers, other different people that have a level of what you want them to attain to. There's that available on Instagram too, right? So it's also for them to achieve that excellence in a different way, that it's not necessarily only their body. And I think from an early age, once you start to instill those things and you do give them the balance, right? I grew up in a West Indian household and my community was predominantly West Indian, but I think that's where it got lost, right? My parents were a lot more lax than like other family members. But I saw like a lot of people who, because their parents were so strict, they just kind of let it free-for-all kind of happen as a result.
Which is what Tony was saying.
Yeah,
it's like if you're too strict,
you can't be too strict, and you have to allow it.
To me,
and even sometimes take your kids to the party, pick them up. That's what my dad did with us. Right. We were allowed to go, but coming home was something that I liked it. I didn't mind him picking me up because I didn't want to have to come home on a bus like most of my other friends.
And then you have an excuse of like why you're not going with that boy or whatever. You say like, hey, and my dad's going to be here. I got to do that.
Yeah.
Talk about the control, the clothes. Are there certain lines, are there certain places that you think are good, especially for those girls like around 9, 10, 11 years old?
Yeah, so all the, Zara Kid is amazing. There's Gap, there's Old Navy, there's so many options. And I think also if you have a child that really wants to be creative and be stylish, I think you can help them kind of tap into that with accessories, hats, scarves. Sneakers are such a big thing now. I love that sneakers are coming back. So like almost the tomboy look is really in right now. So that's great because it's kind of the sexiness is kind of going away. So I think like those are options that are great for, you know, a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. I think there's a lot out
Give them
there.
some really fly sneakers. And
Fly sneakers, fly hats, and they can look really stylish, but they can be covered up. They're not going to, you know, look overly sexy for their
and
age.
still be cute like that.
Yeah.
I agree.
You like that?
Classy.
Classy. You like that
Keep
look?
it classy.
Yeah.
But what about, LaShawn, the peer pressure too? Because there's always that thing too, that parents hear, well, so-and-so's mother or father lets her wear a crop top to school, you know?
Right.
I feel like children will succumb to peer pressure if parents allow them to, right? So because I'm the one buying it or funding the shopping, I can then dictate what you really wear, right? Obviously, like you mentioned, I can go to school and I can change and I can do those sort of things, but it's also to teach your child that I can be sexy without having to be so revealing.
Give us some language. What do you say to like a 12-year-old? And I think the other issue too is that our girls are developing at an earlier and earlier
Right.
age. So their bodies are changing. They're not just little kids anymore.
Right.
They have
For me, I always try to kind of like, when you're talking to any 12-year-old, is to kind of really tap into their individuality and see what they really want or what they really like, right? So it's a matter of just kind of really saying to them, you know what, even though X, Y, and Z looks like this, let's make you look better, right? Or let's make you look different so you can stand out. And even though you can be a part of the in crowd, I guess, if you want to use that word, which is kind of outdated, but you can look a certain way and kind of just be yourself, right? So accentuate that with like the accessories, like I said, those things make you stand out and be as cool and as popular as long as you have the sneakers on your feet that everybody wants.
And
Okay,
I think that was kind of how I even started, like, even got into fashion. I never wanted to look like anyone, and I think that was something that my parents kind of really shoved down my throat. Like, you don't want to look like her just because she has it. That should be the reason why you don't want to have it.
Yeah.
Do
but
something
when you
that finds your own
Exactly,
way. You
but-
know, but I think it was my parents like always telling me that kind of
to go for your individuality.
Exactly.
Yeah, but again, now we're in this social media universe
different
where
now.
they want to have
Kanye's, Jordans. Everybody want the same thing. Let's be
Right.
serious. iPhone 8, when that come out, I want it. Like, we all want the same things.
No, it's true. And I think
I feel like I just feel like when you look at hip hop has always been the driving force for fashion. You know what I'm saying? Because when I didn't want a Coogee sweater until I heard Biggie say I didn't know what it was.
right.
You know what I mean, I didn't know what it was. I'm gonna be honest with you, and like I just feel like hip hop drives the fashion. Now, like what you got, Atlanta Housewives, Basketball Wives, VH1, all kinds of shows. It's like women are winning a lot right now, you know, and they're the idols. I feel like it's all on them. Like whatever they're wearing.
Yeah, but
like
also,
whatever Amber Rose is wearing, whatever Black China is wearing, whatever Kylie's wearing, Kim, people is gonna follow that.
And they're gonna look at that,
Those
but
women are
also-
in 30s and 40 years old, and my 10-year-old shouldn't look like the 30 and 40-year-old woman.
What's up, y'all? It's the Lady of Rage, all the way live here on Street Soldiers, chilling with my girl Lisa Evers on Fox, New York, Channel 5.
I'm going to give LaShawn last word real quick for advice for parents.
Advice for parents is to parent, right? Is to teach them discipline and instill in them the values that you want them to become, right? And also to model that behavior. I think that's probably the best thing that you can do for your kids.
All right, we'll end on that note. I want to thank all of you for being with us.
Right.
LaShawn Paul, licensed clinical social worker. Tony Yayo, hip-hop artist.
You
ever get him
coming
attached
back,
to them,
Lisa. I'm
right?
coming back. I love this show.
All right, great. We'll have you back. Also, Kalana Barfield Brown from In Style Magazine, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. And thank you for being with us for this episode of Street Soldiers. I'm Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. Let's push for peace.